Did you guys see this? It's not just the soybean farmers anymore, and specifically in wherever the hell they're doing their farming. This issue with Donald Trump's economy and his destruction of everything involves folks in Iowa.
A new report shows income for farmers across Iowa could drop drastically next year. The net income for Iowa farmers is expected to fall 24% compared to this year. So that's a total of $3 billion, according to the Rural and Farm Finance Policy Analysis Center at the University of Missouri.
I spoke with the researchers at the University of Missouri who worked on this projection. And what they said was the biggest single factor in this was the federal government. And that's two-pronged. One is with the trade deals that they are hammering out in the ongoing trade war. But then the other part of it is that financial assistance that hasn't been articulated for 2026. Farmers here have been anxious about the fact that there is not a farm bill that has passed, so they don't have the allocations that they had in previous years. Combining all of that with the factors that we've been discussing, with problems with increasing costs of operation, increased costs for fixing machinery, the trade wars, decreased amounts of purchasing from China in particular, even with the new trade agreement. All of that adds up to a substantial cut in income. And they have it, the University of Missouri has it predicted at 24%. There's a lot of farmers here who really want to impress upon the rest of the nation how dire the situation is and how much all of us depend on our farmers.
Iowa farmers looking to have their income cut by another 24%. That's next year. That same next year that we've heard Scott Bessent, Donald Trump, Howard Lutnick talking about how just wait till next year. So they're telling Iowa farmers, just wait till next year when everything gets even worse for you by 24% more. But the thing is this was a town hall where, or at least a campaign event or a town hall where Nathan Sage, he's running in Iowa. The folks there understand where the problem lies.
They are the Iowa farmers. That $20 billion is going to their
$40 billion.
$40 billion is going to their competitors.
Oh, they're pissed. Oh yeah, and it's what's really interesting about it is the tariffs are the ones that create, like the trade war. The tariffs created the problem, got rid of the markets, and now we're going to pay them back with money from the tariffs that started the problem. Doesn't make any sense, right?
It's multiple levels. Of course, it's the tariffs and the higher costs of things from just them operating, the cutoff of their exports to certain countries that they usually have. And now it's this bailout in Argentina, which we've been talking about. It went from 20 billion to then 40 billion. I'm going to show you guys another amendment that this same House group shot down that was introduced to try and do something to remedy this $40 billion that this administration is sending to Argentina.
Madam Chair, I have an amendment to the rule. I move the committee make an order amendment offered by Representative Horsford, which provides that all financial support provided to Argentina not explicitly authorized by Congress is hereby terminated, and $40 billion is hereby appropriated to go towards extending the Affordable Care Act's extended tax credits through December 31st, 2027. We want to give our Republican colleagues another chance to distance themselves from the policy and political failures of this White House. Please vote for this amendment. Show the American people that you care more about their health care than the Argentina politicians who are receiving billions of taxpayer dollars.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach. No. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman. Mr. Roy. Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houghton. Mrs. Houghton, no. Mr. Langworthy. Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith. Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack. Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern. Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon. Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse. Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Ledger Fernandez. Ms. Ledger Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair.
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 8 nays.
The noes have it. The amendment's not agreed to.
It's not just Donald Trump and this MAGA administration. It's these House members, just in this Rules Committee. They voted straightforward. You heard them all say it, one on their phone, give the middle fingers to the American people, that said, we're not going to allow this amendment to come across, to take the $40 billion that we're looking to give to a foreign country to help save Scott Bessent and his buddies and their bad investments and prop up the guy that they paid more money to get elected and put into place and add to his power. Instead of that, and it coming back to American citizens to talk about this healthcare crisis that the Republican Party is now finally admitting is an issue. Matter of fact, when asked about it even further, Scott Bessent, who was, of course, the brains behind this because he's looking to make money off it along with his good buddy, he's getting pissy about it. Like they're actually angry that anyone's asking them about their theft of our money.
Secretary, amid this discussion of costs and prices and affordability, how does a $20 billion bailout of Argentina help Americans? You're the president's point person on that. Can you explain to those here who are feeling the pinch, including America's farmers, why the United States is helping out Argentina?
Well, do you know what a swap line is?
It's a currency swap, yes.
Yes, but what is that?
You're the Treasury Secretary.
Yes, but why would you call it a bailout?
That is how.
In most bailouts, you don't make money. The U.S. government made money. We used our financial balance sheet to stabilize the government. One of our great allies in Latin America, during an election, the president there won in a landslide. The government's going to make money, and I would rather use peace through economic strength than have to be shooting at narco boats coming offshore.
The Morning Joe folks, they're asking him questions about the $40 billion he wants to send to Argentina, and he thought that answer was good. We're making tons of money. Hey, I have a question for regular Americans. Did you make tons of money? Are you bringing in tons of money from this Argentina not bailout, according to Scott Bessent? How much of that money have you seen? Hey, if the federal government's making all that money and then also cutting every program that you actually rely on, that you paid into, how much of that money that the federal government's taking tons of money in that Scott Bessent is talking about is benefiting you? In what ways is that benefiting you as they fight tooth and nail against this whole thing about healthcare access and people's costs skyrocketing? It doesn't help you. They just say the federal government's making tons of money. Aren't you happy for us? And he was talking about it's best to prop up Javier Milei than to have a bunch of people shooting at drug boats, as they called them, in the Caribbean. That's not really a good flex either, and the UK agrees.
A breaking news exclusive now coming into the Situation Room. Watch this. The United Kingdom is suspending some of its intelligence sharing with the U.S. because of the Trump administration's strikes against alleged drug boats in the Caribbean.
This is a big deal. The UK is arguably the closest ally to the United States when it comes to intelligence sharing. What else do we know?
Yeah, Pam, it's a really significant rupture here. Essentially, what we're learning is that the UK is no longer sharing intelligence with the US about these suspected drug trafficking vessels in the Caribbean because it does not want to be complicit in the US military's strikes on these drug vessels and believes fundamentally that the US military's use of force against these vessels violates international law, according to multiple sources that we spoke to. And we're told that the UK is deeply uncomfortable with that, and they believe that it is pretty blatantly illegal.
You've got the traditionally colonizing UK even distancing themselves and no longer doing intel sharing, specifically when it comes to this whole process for blowing up boats in the Caribbean. The UK, like, this is like really bad. If you need more signs that we're the bad guys as we murder people and act like that's what our threats are, as we're trying to then invade South American countries, they've talked about controlling our hemisphere from the warmonger Pete Hegseth. That's actually something that Scott Bessent tried to use as an excuse as to why they're propping up Javier Milei as well. We don't want to keep blowing up boats, except for the fact that Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth keep celebrating the fact that they're blowing up boats. Which reality do they expect people to believe here? Because you're supposed to believe that as he deflects to try and avoid all this bad news about him bailing out Argentina. But at the same time, we're supposed to also celebrate they're doing exactly what it is that he said they don't want to do anymore. But one thing is for sure. They don't want anyone talking about affordability either. Again, I want you guys to notice the change in energy. They're getting angry all the time. Anytime people are pointing out and speaking their reality, even these red hat wearers, all the reality that they're seeing, they're just getting angry about it and saying, no, your reality is what I tell you it is.
So, Mr. Secretary, it's not news anchors at NBC saying it. It's the voters a week ago saying life is too expensive in this country. So do you believe the idea that voters are saying affordability is a problem for me is a con job?
I believe even this morning you had two people come on and say, well, I look at the price at the pump and I know costs are up. Well, gasoline's down. So that is a con job. And I think that's what's frustrating.
So you don't believe that all the people who went to vote last Tuesday on the issue of affordability, my rent's too high, I can't afford to buy a house, groceries are too expensive, you think they're just misperceiving what's happening in their lives?
I think that they're.
There he is getting a couple more frogs in his throat over talking about this con job. He's telling Americans, that was a direct question. Americans, regular folks at home, you can attack media figures, you can attack Democrats that are elected. Regular folks at home are talking about how things suck. And he called all of them con artists. All these people in the United States of America that voted for these dum-dums are a bunch of con artists. Scott Bessent said it. I didn't say it. He said, you guys are conning us. It's pretty obvious that when you've seen the price of gas go up, you're just lying to me because you want to make Donald Trump look bad. This is their new political approach. And it seems like they just don't give a damn anymore. I'm going to let him try and finish, even though let's see if that frog jumps out of his damn throat.
I think that that we inherited an affordability crisis. We have slowed the price increases down, and they are going to continue to slow down, and that real working class wages will go up, and that will address the affordability issue. And, I think this is what Democrats are afraid to do.
You can blame the media. I understand that's part of your job, but let's talk about voters who are saying life is too expensive. Not just talking about Democrats in New York City who might have voted for Mayor-elect Mamdani, ranchers, Republicans in red states saying things are too expensive. What do you say to them? Not that it's a con job, but they feel like life is too expensive, but that it's a reality of their lives.
I say that there are many aspects of affordability that have gotten better under President Trump. They're going to continue to get better.
It's all based on a promise. I would tell them to just wait longer. I would tell them all these things that we've been telling you are eventually going to come true. This is why I'm going to refer back to the theme. It's been the latest theme of this whole stream, you guys. They're liars. Why would you believe someone who has a history of lying, who's been proven wrong, who's blatantly lied to your face multiple times, and his pain then strikes you further? They keep lying about it. Why would you believe Scott Bessent now when he then says, just wait a little bit longer, you guys? I believe things are going to get better. So therefore, what you're experiencing right now is a con job. Does that make any sense to anybody? Especially when you got people like Peter Navarro working in this same administration.
Hamburger is now $8 a pound on sale. It was $4 a pound on sale last year. I call that 100% increase. And she started the email off by saying, I am a Trump supporter.
All right, let's take beef.
So what do you say to her right now? It's not about one thing. It's about.
We feel your pain. We are literally doing everything we can. I mean, I actually meet with a group.
But the president calls it a con job.
I meet with a group once a week in the Roosevelt Room where we've got an attack plan to deal with beef.
I get that. I get that, Peter. But I'm going to give you the last thing. The president calls this a con job. How do the American people think he feels their pain when he says it's a con job?
At the political level, that's what's going on. They blame him for Biden's legacy.
And therefore he's angry.
And that makes him angry. But again,
I understand
the discussion we can have, and I'll come back for a longer
Please
one.
do.
We feel your pain. Well, at the same time, Donald Trump is mad that people are saying that they're in pain. So therefore, we can understand why Donald Trump is upset. It was just like yesterday. Why are we catering to a crybaby toddler in the White House? Like, that's, again, supposed to be normalized here. He's mad, so therefore we should accept that he's mad because he's having to face some accountability for his decisions and his economic policies that have destroyed so many people's lives. It's okay because we feel your pain, according to Peter Navarro.
What we have to do is explain really carefully about this Democrat con job. And let's be clear what it is. They want to blame Donald Trump for what is Biden legacy inflation.
Yeah.
And we have to be very clear about two things. One, go category by category: housing, food, transportation, healthcare, exactly what we're doing. And we also have to remind people that everything the Democrats do pushes inflation up, and that the only reason why we ever had the inflation crisis to begin with is because of the wild inflationary policies of the Biden regime.
I'm not sure if people listen to this as much as I do. They always say that. They just keep saying the same thing. I think even Maria Bartiromo, either she had to go to a break or something, but she kept jumping. Did you notice? Going, yeah, yeah, we hear you, Peter. Yeah, mhm. Yeah, please, we get it. I think people are starting to understand that you just repeat the same propaganda talking points over and over and over and over again. So it's the Biden's fault. It'll be Biden's fault in 2027. It'll be Biden's fault in 2028. Nothing's ever going to be this guy's fault, no matter what it is that we see or feel. Here's a revelation, though. Again, going back to their lies that tariffs wouldn't cause any pain. Scott Bessent got a chance to bring that up. Now, this is again supposed to be something we overlook, but listen closer to what he says about those imports.
Well, it's tough to do a lot of specific things, but I can tell you, Brian, you're going to see some substantial announcements over the next couple of days in terms of things we don't grow here in the United States. Coffee being one of them, bananas, other fruits, things like that. So that will bring the prices down very quickly. And Brian, we inherited this affordability mess. It was the worst inflation 40, 50 years, one of the worst in the nation's history. And affordability has two components. So there's the price level, and then there is income level. And what happened under Biden was the cumulative inflation, stated inflation, CPI, was 23%. But what happened to working Americans, their basket of goods and services, food, insurance, auto payments was up in the 30s. So they felt a real gigantic differential there. And what we are going to do is by bringing back high-paying manufacturing jobs, President Trump is going to do what he did in the first term, and that is for hourly workers and working Americans to have real wage increases. So, Brian, imagine two lines. There is the inflation line. We've got that under control. It's leveled out. That is going to start turning down. Then there's the income line, which under Biden, because so many of the jobs were government jobs, you can't get real wage growth from a government job. Real wages are going to increase. Right. And I would expect in the first quarter, second quarter of next year, those two lines are going to cross, and the American people are going to start feeling better. But look, this has been a tough period.
He wants you to forget the fact that he just said we're going to lower the tariffs on things like coffee and bananas because we don't grow bananas here. If you have to then listen to Scott Bessent, if Brian Kilmeade had some thoughts in his big head, then someone would have asked him, wait, coffee and bananas? You're lowering tariffs on those things? Why would you do such a thing? Donald Trump told us that no one knows more about tariffs than he does, and that therefore, when he's implementing tariffs across the world on everything like he did in April, that's only going to bring prosperity. So now that it's brought higher prices on coffee and bananas and other kinds of fruits, since it's done that now, they're going to lower those tariffs so we can have some price reliefs. This is the same theme. They've caused the problem and increased prices tremendously. Said that the prices aren't actually up. After they lose that argument, then they say, okay, we'll pull back on those tariffs and those prices will come down. We're going to see some extraordinary things happen. You can't wait to see it, Brian, right? We're going to change the whole game, the game that you screwed up in the first place. They want credit for sucking. Doesn't that mean your idea to tariff everybody was a bad one and we shouldn't trust you anymore? It wasn't just a slip of the tongue. Donald Trump said it too.
I think we are doing phenomenally well. This is the greatest economy we've ever had. Their talking points, costs are high, costs are high. By the way, the only thing is beef.
Coffee
is a little high because the ranchers are doing great. Coffee, we're going to lower some tariffs. We're going to have some coffee come in. We're going to take care of all this stuff very quickly, very easily. It's surgical. It's beautiful to watch. But our costs are way lower. Now,
Laura Ingraham had a chance too. She had an opportunity right there to, say, wait, lower? You want to lower tariffs? What caused you to lower tariffs? Are you lowering tariffs because you got the demand letters were answered by the folks in those countries that you said you're demanding some kind of extortion out of? What is it that makes you want to lower those tariffs? And if you're going to lower them because the prices are up, what you just said, that was a bad idea to implement those tariffs. We shouldn't trust you anymore. But Donald Trump said, it's going to be beautiful, wonderful, crazy, never seen anything like it before. And then I guess your brain forgets that he just said he's reversing his policy that he said was the best policy ever.